So this is opengameart.org. It's a free resource for computer game graphics. So if we want to make something that looks a bit nicer than this, well, this is the place to get some graphics. So let's go with a sort of space shooter to start with. Or we go with, yeah, let's do that. So let's enter into the search box ship because we want some kind of a spaceship. Well, there's some nice graphics already. Now, here we can see the license agreement. That means that we just have to give credit. This is called the Commercial Commons license, and it means that work is free for reuse by anybody, as long as we credit this person. That's what the little symbol there means, credit this person. So first of all, we better credit them. So we need to add a piece of text. So text will be in looks. So let's have it say it. Okay, so apparently someone called Dravnix created this sprite, so we will credit him. So let's copy the image and let's see if we can't edit this sprite. So if we go into the costumes section, that's where we have the option to edit what it looks like. And a sprite can have multiple different appearances and you can cycle through them. So for example, if we wanted to have a walking person, we could have a frame in which his legs are like that, and then one where his legs are slightly bent, one where both his legs are straight, and then one where his other legs in front. So he starts to move. I'm sure you've all seen sort of frames of animation. Well, that's what costumes are. So let's see if we can't clear this. And now we can't paste directly in here, so we're going to have to save the object and import it. So right click your image, click Save Image As. Now I'm just going to save it to the desktop. If you have a specific folder you want to save it in, then that's fine. So we can't paste, so we can go now into the desktop here and find our image, double click it, and there's our guy. So let's see if that looks a bit better. Now that looks great. Now at the moment he's a bit big, so let's see if we can't make him a little smaller. There we go, he's looking a bit better already. Maybe a little bit smaller still. So let's just move up a little bit. Now we don't need a sun anymore because it's going to be a space shooter. It's going to be much more exciting. So we will just delete this guy. And for the background stage, again, we have backgrounds instead of costumes, but it's basically the same thing. So let's edit this and we'll find a nice star field for our game. So let's see if we can't find some stars. That looks quite good, space background. Or this one, that one doesn't seem to be loading just yet. Brilliant, that one looks fantastic. So let's save the image. So I'm just going to double check that worked because I noticed it was giving me a strange file extension. No, that's fine, this has totally worked. Brilliant. So let's import it now. So I saved it onto the desktop, so let's import it from the desktop. Brilliant. Nice background. So let's make sure we save our project. So now we've got something that looks much more professional, much nicer. Now we want to be able to control our ship at the moment. So we need to identify how to start our script, because all scripts start with a beginning and they will just carry on until they reach the bottom. So we don't want it to be a flag event, so we can get rid of that. We want it to be a key press event because we want to be able to fly our ship around with the arrow keys. So let's have a look and find the arrow keys. Now the first thing you want to do when you play, when you're writing a computer game or anything else in programming, is to make sure that your code works. And the simplest way to do that is to put in a say statement, and we will say it works. So if you're not following along with this and pausing the video, that's probably an ideal way to do it. So whilst you're watching this video, if you press pause and then work along with me, you don't have to use the same graphics as me, you can use different ones if you want, but as long as you're doing what I'm doing and you're seeing the same things on your screen, then you should be learning. So let's find out if that works or not. Well, I pressed the up arrow and it works, so I'm happy. That looks like it's doing what I wanted to do. Now, we don't actually want it to say it works, we want it to move. And we want to move it up. Now, move 50 steps is going to move it forward, and then changing that to negative is going to move it backwards. We've already seen that, yep, that moves it backwards. Making it positive moves it forwards. I'm just double clicking it to make it move backwards and forwards. So this is not going to help us. So let's have a look at what else we've got here. Well, we've got change Y and we've got change X. These look quite positive. In a graph, we have the X coordinate system, which goes this way. We have the Y coordinate system, which goes this way. And if we want our ship to move up and down, left and right, this is looking like a simple way of doing it. So up and down is Y, so we'll have to go with change Y. Now, let's test it out. Let's set it to 1 and then test it out. Okay, press the up arrow. Okay, and he's going up. Brilliant. So let's now duplicate this. So right click, click duplicate. We now have a duplicate, and now we want to handle the case where he's going down. So we change this to -1. Let's duplicate it again. Let's have left. Now in this case we don't want to change the Y, we want to change the X. And we want to duplicate it again, and we want to change it to 1 there. So I'm just going to delete these bits here. Now we do need to keep this because this is going to be for crediting the author, and we also actually need to credit the author of this as well, because that's one of the agreements according to this license down here. So let's do that. So we'll just go with a, now we don't have say in this case, so we'll just have to put, let's put it back in sprite. We'll duplicate this and we'll put background was drawn by Dark Bros. Okay. So if we were going to publish this game, we may only publish this section, but because we're not publishing it at the moment, all this is part of it, so this counts for attribution. So let's see how we can control our ship. So at the moment the right arrow is not working, so I just press the right arrow here and nothing's happening. And now I have to debug my script, and debugging is something that's going to fill up quite a lot of your time. Let's see why the right arrow is not working. Well, this condition handles the up, this condition handles the down, this condition handles the left, this condition handles the right. This is positive, that's negative, so that should be right. It should be moving right. And there is the error. When I was duplicating this script here, I forgot to select the change to the right error. So you'll find that little errors like this are very common in programming, and you'll spend quite a lot of your time trying to figure them out. And a methodical approach to this is really going to help you. So starting out by identifying the case which handles the thing not working, which is moving. Moving right was not working, so I focused on this, and that let me spot the mistake I'd made. So let's see if it works now. Well, we can move forward, we can move backward, we can move up, and we can move down. Now at the moment these X and Y values are the location of the ship, and that's useful information, but we can't see it at the moment. It's just an invisible figure. For example, I know it's increased by 1 every time I move forwards, and it's decreased by 1 every time I move backwards, but I don't know what it actually is at that point. It could be 100, it could be 1,000. All I know is it increases when I go that way and decreases when I go that way. So what I need to do is I need to see the X and the Y position. So let's see if I can make him display that. So I'm going to use say again, which is in here. And in this case, I'm not going to be saying hello. I'm going to be saying his X position. Now I did something sly here. I dragged this X and Y position here. These are what we're going to call variables. And variables are really key to programming, and understanding them is going to be quite a big task for you in programming. And a variable is basically an attribute of something. So this spaceship has an X coordinate and it has a Y coordinate. And its X coordinate can change, as can its Y coordinate. So this is the variable that stores his X position. So if I drag and drop it in here, I'm saying don't say hello, say whatever is in his X position at the moment. So this should hopefully, when I double click it, tell me what his X position is. There we go. 96, negative 96. Well, let's confirm that by moving him right and see if we get a different value. 87. 10. This should be really negative. Negative 187. So this is letting us see the contents of this variable. Okay, so let's go through that again. The ship has a position in its X direction, it has a position in its Y direction. I'm saying I want you to do this activity, which is to say, and the thing I want you to say is hello. In this case, if I double click on it, I put it in here, I'm saying his X position. So we always want it to tell us what his X position is and his Y position. So let's just swap that out there for the Y. We can see there he's at negative 7. If we move him further down, we should get a bigger negative number. If we move him up, we should be a nice positive number. Okay, so this is a built-in variable, X and Y. We're going to look next at our own custom variables, and we're going to look at the looping structures. So under control structures, we can see repeat statements, forever statements, and we might even look at an if statement as well. So at the moment we have to manually press and hold down the button, and he's moving quite slowly. The next lecture we're going to look at adding a little bit of momentum for this guy so he controls more fluidly.